Okay, life update. I am clearly in a new space, sitting on a different couch than the pink one that you're used to seeing. And I haven't posted a video in months. So where am I? What's been going on? Honestly, life. I have just been, for even longer than my last YouTube video, I was like, I don't really want to be on Instagram anymore. I don't want to have that kind of like social media account where I'm scrolling. It just felt like I was spending too much time looking at other people and how they're living their lives, that it was hard for me to live my own. So I was feeling like that about Instagram. And then I was feeling a little bit like that about YouTube, in that, because in my hiatus, I have been watching a lot of YouTube. So it's not that I don't like watching YouTube. It's just that it felt like, as the YouTube content creator, I was sharing too much. I don't know. I felt like it was too much of my life that I was like putting out there, specific numbers, how much I was spending, and that creeped me out a little bit. So I needed a little break from YouTube. I don't know that I'm fully back consistently, creating videos, but I have missed it. So I wanted to just take out the camera and give you a little update. Yeah, we are in a new place. The last couple of videos that I put out were Ari and I discussing what was next for us in a living situation. And we considered, is now the time to buy a house? Should we rent closer to the city? What do we want for our lives? And we ran some numbers, and for a while we were really set on buying something, but financially it just didn't make sense for us. We could, with the amount of down payment that we had, but it felt like we were putting a higher monthly cost on our housing that would not allow us to save the amounts that we wanted to save and invest, right? And so we ultimately decided to go back to renting. We were living in my mother-in-law's basement, and we could have stayed there. No one was kicking us out, but just as a couple that wanted to start our life married, we were ready to move out. We were ready to move out, even if that meant we could no longer save as much, because we're now paying for rent for the bigger vision, which is ultimately being able to buy our own house. So that's still a goal, but right now we are still renting. We chose to rent. We went from moving to the basement because we wanted to buy at the end of 2023, getting laid off at the end of, or in the middle of 2023, when my goal was to have purchased a house, and that's why we moved back to the basement, to then ultimately deciding we're going to move out of the basement, even though it is without a home that we own. And it's been 2 months since we've been living in this apartment, and I love it here. I love it here. I am glad that we went this route, that we went with the route of choosing to live somewhere we want to live, even if that means renting, because buying in this area at our point in our lives right now is out of the price range. And renting is not. Renting is still something that we can do here. And so it feels nice to live somewhere I want to live, even though I don't own this place. Just to kind of give you a background on what we did before we made the decision to move out and rent. We put an offer on a house. We were so set on this house. And we went back and forth with the seller. They wanted more than our offer was. And ultimately, we didn't get the house, right? We would have, if our offer had been approved, I would have been happy with that house. I would have loved that house. But now renting here, I'm like, there's so many things that I love about this apartment. The lighting that comes in, the ability to fit an island in the kitchen. Growing up, having an island was such a flex. When my grandmother bought a house and it came with an island, it was such a big deal. And so being able to find this and have it fit perfectly in this room I know, a silly little island, but that's how it felt, how it feels to have a place to chop up veggies and cook. It just makes me feel happy. It makes me feel happy. And I think that you can do that even if you don't own a home, right? Like, we don't own this, and yet it is starting to feel more and more like home. There are certain things, you know, that I like. Sometimes I'll just turn to Ari and I'm like, oh, this is our place. Like, you know, we're prepping dinner, we're making pizza. It just feels like home. Renting is not a waste of money. It actually is the best financial decision that we could have made for ourselves. Renting is costing about $1,500 less a month than what the house we put an offer on would have cost us on a monthly basis. So I'm okay with that decision. And this one is an added benefit to not a toy. Anyway, Charlotte has been in our family since 2016. Yeah. She's 9. And she was living with my parents. And I was like, you know what? Finally moving out of the basement into our own place, not in a city, because we were living in Brooklyn prior to moving back to Jersey. And it just wouldn't make sense to have brought her there, especially when I was working in the office. And so having her join us is so sweet. I'm so happy that she's here. I'm happy that she gets to go on walks. She looks really tired right now because we just went on a little walk in the town, right? Right? And that was a big thing too for me. It was like, I want to live in a walkable town that has a train into the city. And like I already mentioned, that in New Jersey is a bit outside of our price range and would have cost us a lot more a month than what it's costing us to rent. She loves Ari's spot of the bed because she's got really good access to the window and she likes to cause a scene when she sees something. She sees any living thing. There she goes, there she goes. So you'll be seeing more of her in my videos. Another thing worth mentioning is I have a whole office. I have a little office. This apartment is huge. It is huge. When we came to see the apartment, I knew that it was our home because it just felt like the perfect place for us. There is just so much space. This is the sunroom and we have not decorated this room yet. Because we're like, what are we gonna make this sunroom? I keep thinking I wanna like get a sewing machine and make this like my sewing area. But the thing about the sunroom is in the winter, we haven't really been able to use it because in the winter, it is really cold in here. There's no heat. This used to be a open porch and over time, the owners closed it off. And so now it's a 3 seasonal space. At least that's how it was described to us. I'm excited for the summer because we have a deck. You probably can't really see it, but it's a good sized deck. Apparently they are going to redo it this summer. So we will have a little space for us to just chill and enjoy the sun without having to like go out in public if we don't want to. It could, we can just pull up a chair and hang out outside on our deck. So little things like this sold me on this apartment. We had toured, I think 3 other apartments the same day we toured this. Toured? Why does that sound weird? Toured. We had toured 3 different apartments before we saw this one. And we almost didn't want to come to this. We were like, The first 2 were sort of a miss because the first one, too small, not even a space to host. Like you walked in, living room, then it was a small kitchen and a bedroom. The second place was a little outside our price range, and there was a tenant living in the basement that shared his door with us. I don't know. That situation, I was like, I don't know. It was too expensive. It felt like a lot of space. It had 3 floors, and I'm like, I don't need all of this. Like, we don't need all this space. So, no, that didn't feel like the right choice. And then the third one, we were like, love it. Loved how wide it was. It had a big like dining room and living room, but the washer and dryer was in the basement, which you had to step outside of the apartment for and share it with everybody else. The driveway was also shared with a couple of the other tenants that lived in that building. And then, you know, we were kind of just like, we love it. There's some things we don't love about it, but that so far had been our top. And then we got to this place and we were not expecting to like it. The Zillow photos did not do it justice. I was kind of just like, we're going to go because the price point is fine and like washer, dryer, and unit. Let's go check it out. But when we got here, the character in this apartment just felt like this is our place. So right away, we're like, yeah, we know we're gonna apply to this one. And we went on a little ice skating date, texted the agent that showed us this, and we're like, we want to apply. It was the first, maybe it wasn't the first, I don't even remember at this point, but we hadn't really looked at places in this town because I was still kind of hoping and wanting to live closer to the city and be in Jersey City. So still be in New Jersey, but closer to New York and have that path access. And all throughout October and September, we had looked at apartments in Jersey City and just nothing felt right. And this town was, I am glad. I'm happy. That is the biggest thing out of this video is I am happy with the choice that we made. Of course, you know, you get sad, you get like in your moments of like, oh God, you know, I'm 31 and you put an age to like hitting a milestone and you ask yourself, why haven't I been able to afford a house or buy a house? And, you know, sometimes I get into that like mindset and I am trying to do a lot less of that. And I think now that I have this apartment and we're renting it out, I removed Zillow from my phone. I removed the app because I was doing some unhealthy amount of just scrolling on Zillow, seeing what's available, even if it's outside my price range and feeling bad about myself. So scrolling Instagram, scrolling Zillow, clearly I have an addictive personality that requires me to delete apps from my phone. So I'm trying to not do that as much and be grateful for what I do get to have, because what I was writing down in my journal a year ago was like, I want to live in a walkable town. I want to live where there's a train to New York City. I want to be able to build community in a place. And it felt very transient living in the basement because I didn't feel like that is a place where I am going to be forever. So why try to be friends with my neighbors? And that wasn't a good mindset. I can say that I'm not proud of that mindset, but that's how it felt living in the basement. It just kind of felt like everything I'm doing is just in a holding period until I reach that next phase. And whether that was buying a place or moving out and renting our own apartment, what we were doing was not permanent. And I think that living our lives in this state of what's next didn't lead to stability. And so I feel like in a sense, we have some of that stability now. It feels good to have a permanent, like 1-year lease. I mean, unless they try to sell this place, but hopefully, you know, it's stable. I feel stable at least, and it feels like I can really settle down here and grow and create that sense of community that I've been wanting for years now, 4 years. So I'm excited for this chapter. I'm excited to bring you along, maybe. I don't know, like this channel is gonna look different, period. It's not gonna be the same channel that it was before my hiatus. I don't know. The monthly recap of like how I'm spending, just not sure that I'll do that again. Maybe it'll look differently, but obviously I'm still gonna be talking about money in one way or another. I don't know that I'll sit in front of the camera and try to explain money concepts, but more so share how I'm working through, how we as a couple are working through some of our financial goals. So yeah, I wanted to make this video because I miss creating videos. I miss YouTube. I am still very much a watcher. I love watching people's YouTube videos. So I haven't left that platform. Like, deleted every other social media platform but YouTube. So hello, thank you for watching, and I don't know when I'll see you, but see you next time.